Hello guys, and you're back here with another one. A Rude Awakening. Oh, the rhythmic beating of the heart monitor brings you slowly back to consciousness. Open your eyes. You're greeted by a semicircle of concerned faces. Your family by your side, a reassuring, familiar sight in these new surroundings. You blink a few more times to clear the sleep from your eyes and bring everyone into focus. Alright, you feel a hand on yours, gentle but reassuring. Sam there with you as always. Their expression, understandably concerned, is somehow more affectionate than ever. We knew you'd be okay, never doubted it for a second, and if I ever see that Bozeman. The worry lines on Sam's forehead fade a bit. Lord knows you've both got enough to be anxious about without your health being thrown into the mix. With a final smile at them, you turn to the rest of your family. Susie is standing next to Sam, less worried now that you're awake and smiling. You can see Sam's worry on your daughter's face, but she smiles when she notices you looking at her. Her eyes brim with tears as she asks, "Are you okay?" "No, I've been attacked by snugglehugs." Snugglehugs, more like killer hugs. And for a moment, Susie's not 19. She's your 6-year-old daughter. Again, and she's scared. You'll feel a flash of pain behind your eyes. You put on a brave face. Of course I am. I swear, these stupid prank calls. Susie can't help but smile back at you, rolling her eyes. Good naturally. It's great to have her here. Charlie catches your eye as she fidgets with the edge of the brain of the blanket. You cock your head and look at him, one eyebrow raised questioningly. As soon as you turn to look at him, you can see Charles tense up, his concern clear on his face. "So you're definitely good, right?" he asks. Finally asks, quickly look away. Charlie looks at you and grins, one of those infectious smiles that spreads around the room. It's always good to have him in your corner. Your smile fades as you notice your mother staring listlessly out the window. Despite all of your best efforts, she's not been doing well lately. "Are you okay, Mom?" Your mother starts, your call, clearly shocking her out of her reverie. She turns to you and smiles, and you're grateful to see the increasingly rare recognition in her eyes. "Yes, dear, of course. How are you feeling?" You smile warmly and nod, but before you can respond, the doctor busts in and ushers everyone out. She asks you, for what feels like the 100th time, "How are you feeling?" Surprisingly well, all things considered. "Excellent. There's no sign of any damage, just a bit of shock to the old system. Pardon the pun." She smiles. "Not that we'd recommend you do anything like that again. Of course, after a couple days at rest at home, you should feel right as rain." She turns to leave, but stops at the door. "Oh, and the private room and care." The doctor gestures to your room, which you now notice looks rather expensive. "Has all been paid by Mr. Bozeman. He left those flowers." and said not to worry and to take the rest of the week off. He'll see you Monday, apparently. Seems like the best he could do. A burden to bear. Oh no, not like the last episode. Last episode we had a ton of this stuff. You come home from work, you come home from a particularly late shift to find the kitchen lights still on, which isn't normally a good sign. Everyone's usually in bed by now. Softly opening the kitchen door, and you find Sam sat at the table. Bills and papers are strewn in front of them, as well as what looks to be their second pack of biscuits. They give you a quick kiss as you take a seat next to them. Sam frowns and goes back to the bill they're holding. Hey, sweetheart, just looking at the numbers again. They look to the door to the pantry, now converted into your mother's bedroom. We've been doing our best. I think Cassandra really needs a nurse to look after her now. Suddenly, the bills are all you can see. I've been staring at the numbers all night. Tears in her eyes. Sam takes your hand. There's just no way we can afford it. I'm so sorry. The kitchen table swings before you. Sam stands up and pulls you into a firm embrace, but all you can think of is your mother, and how you can't afford to help her. What will your dad be thinking now? Is this the utopia Advance promised? You stare at the door to your mother's makeshift room. Tomorrow, you'll need to tell the kids, and then book an appointment to the transition center. What else could you have done? Okay, whenever there's a loading screen, you know there's something new. Probably some more news. Last episode we had lightning. We had to deal with lightning on the buttons and also a bunch of snuggle hugs that has a beat with a hammer or something. Or a clipboard. Not really much to do with the inner feed, the interception. Not much in the Snugglehead area. Same with the lightning section. But we also had a lot of that text box stuff. All the forms, a lot of bills, that type of stuff. What new thing are we going to be looking for now? The silence. It's a nice day.
What for? Facial sabotage?
Jenny, problem? I want her fired today, now.
Don't worry, Kath, it'll be alright.
No, it won't be alright, Kath.
Well, that's new. Work safely.
Get out.
Warning, electrified controls. Protective equipment must be worn. Operate at your own risk. No unauthorized personnel.
This is not Jenny.
Report violations immediately.
It'll be alright, I'll talk to Buxton.
Oh, good. You can tell him I'll return his wife's casserole dish at our dinner next week.
Oh, I should get the,
Jenny.
Oh, that's broken.
You're letting it go to your head.
She nearly blinded
10
me.
seconds,
I thought we
everybody.
were part of a team these days.
Things are better, Jeremy, you know that. Just stop
Oh.
being so high and mighty and do your job.
You'll
4,
have me fired too.
3.
Don't tempt me. Good evening. I'm Megan Wolf.
And I'm Jeremy Dawes. Our main headlines tonight.
The establishment strikes back. The World Council has agreed today to impose punitive sanctions on the people of this country.
The sanctions,
Oh.
which are broad-ranging,
That's new.
include restrictions on the supply of oil and gas, food, clothing, and even some medicines. But how should we react? We asked the public.
What do you think about all these sanctions?
I doubt it make a lot of difference, Pet. I've lived through 2
What
world
difference?
wars
Are you
and I've
kidding
had
me?
40 a day. And if that ain't killed me, I doubt this will either.
Thanks, Patrick.
Is this woman okay? She's been
Popular
smoking a
Prime
lot.
Minister Julia Salisbury
So
has
that probably
released a
explains it.
reassuringly brave statement in response to the World Council's controversial announcement.
This international declaration is nothing short of outrageous. We are a democratically elected government with massive popular support. We do not recognise these sanctions, and we encourage other socially progressive nations of the world to both resist and ignore them. Advance have struck fear into the heart of the international community by showing that it is possible to have radical change for the betterment of the many. And whilst I wish we could improve other countries as much as we have our own, we do not rely on the help of others to thrive. This country is entirely self-sufficient. We are a team, now more than ever. And this team is on your side.
Oh.
Thank you.
Defiant stuff. But what do you, the public, think of our government's stance? Robin Short found out.
I was wondering if you could tell me what you think of the government.
What? That shower of iridescent pricks, punishing success and rewarding laziness? They're taking this country down the bloody Swanee. And it's not just me that thinks so. My wife Iris, she agreed.
Over to you, fellas. Global
Jesus,
Mega
someone's angry.
Corporation Remington
Someone's like throwing a
Smith
fit.
today announced that trials have successfully completed on their groundbreaking male contraceptive product, Responsibility.
The drug has been passed by the government for general release, but the small print warns that, in rare cases, side effects can include blurred vision, enlarged genitalia, and increased risk of stroke. No double entendre intended.
Oh.
But what do you, the public, think of Sophia Remington's latest venture? Patrick?
I wouldn't
Would
want.
you take the male contraceptive pill?
No, mate. Her body, her baby, her problem.
How progressive are you?
So?
Nothing.
A momentary lapse of reason. Commuters across the capital found themselves somewhat bemused by the latest stunt by controversial protest group Disrupt.
In a baffling start to the day, commuters found performers outside every major station, all dressed and posed identically. Whether we're supposed to be amused or intimidated is anybody's guess, Jeremy, but most commuters didn't even stop to notice.
Well, as long as it's not some grand contemporary dance, it's probably harmless.
But how do we all feel about Disrupt and their eclectic tactics? Robin found out.
Do you have any feelings about Disrupt?
It's all a bit noisy for me, really. As Mother always said, leave the rebelling to the rebels, Malcolm.
Feast or famine. Resourceful doctors David Wong and Ingrid Swansborg and Horgensford today announced their first successful harvest in Dante's taint. Although they can currently only grow a few fungal strains, the scientists seem to be staying positive, as the following picture shows.
The undauntable scientists chose to try and survive in the cave system while the complex rescue operation inches forward up here on dry land.
Let's hope they're like strong enough.
But with Advance planning to spend an eye-watering amount of public money on the rescue craft, we asked Patrick Bannon to find out what we should all be thinking about the accelerating costs.
Yeah, don't worry, they're going to cut all this, aren't they? It's disgusting. Christ. Oh, Jesus, what? Have you thought about quitting smoking?
Right. No, I'm fine now.
Okay.
What were we talking about?
The trapped scientists.
Oh yeah, right.
Brilliant.
I am not a member.
Jesus.
Applications finally open today for the new Advance Team membership cards, a scheme by the government to allow fast access to all the new public services being introduced daily.
The team membership cards are entirely voluntary, but will be recognised as legal identification by all major organisations, including the police, banks and, rightfully, pubs and bars.
And of course, there's no charge, Jeremy.
It all seems too good to be true.
Well, you've always been a cynic. But most importantly, what should you, the public, think about the new team membership cards?
Team membership cards?
Absolutely bloody not.
It's the thin end of the wedge, isn't it, Iris? First it's, can I see your identification, sir? And then it's, would you mind bending over
So
the
this guy's
table,
like in
sir?
the B
So,
group.
Sergeant State Educated and Constable
then
Regional Accent here.
that young man, he's in the C group, so what's... This is the A
You
group.
should call them what they are. They're bloody ID cards. Oh, for Christ's sake, what is it, Iris?
Oh, I'm really not happy, Algernon. I'm so sorry. Crikey.
And finally tonight, back of the net, popular sports personality Johnny Hansleaves and his fiancée Tiffany Lamour was spotted out today doing a little shopping for what many are already calling the greatest wedding ever.
We can only assume that Tiffany's latest show, My Teenage Secretions, has sold better than expected, as by the looks of things, the whole affair's about to become more expensive than Little C's shoe collection.
I don't know who that is.
But what should your opinion be of this extravagant display of wealth?
Oh my god, fantastic!
Wise words there.
Later tonight, in a bit of a switcheroo, it'll be Jeremy in the culture chair, spitting rhymes with popular rapper Jay Zus. And then we'll both be chatting with a familiar team of thespians set to take the nation by storm again.
That's all coming up on tonight's
National
Nightly
Nightly
News. First tonight, thankfully, some news as we return to our main story.
The World Council today agreed that punitive and potentially illegal sanctions should be imposed upon this country. The sanctions, which come into effect immediately, aim to stop the flow of food, fuel, and even some medicines from reaching your pockets.
Oh, God.
Tonight, we have guests from across the continent to discuss this unprecedented situation. For advance, Peter Clement is at his home in Lancashire. Are you there, Peter?
Yes, I can hear you, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
A momentous day, Prime Minister. Are you shaken?
Oh, I don't scare that easy, I'm afraid, old son. And neither do the people of this country.
Well, joining us is Ivan Vodovich, Foreign Minister of Urkistan. Ivan, thank you for being here.
Great pleasure. You, Megan Wolf, are like strongest guard at labour camp who wake up inside body of crazy, expensive prostitute. In my country, you will be worshipped as a god.
Okay. Minister, as one of those arguing most strongly for these sanctions, how do you feel about Avance's defiant stance?
Vance is like man who think he have big career in movies land, when actually he in dirty sanitarium, screaming at mirror and holding tiny penis in hand.
He's clearly not from Svenland then. We have like some of the cleanest mental health care facilities in the continent, yeah.
And welcome to Svenland's Minister of Mojo, Björk. I'm sorry, we don't appear to have your surname.
It's just Björk, yeah. We don't use things like socially divisive surnames here, yeah.
Minister?
It's just Björk, yeah.
Right, Björk. Your country spoke in favour of Advance at the World Council today, but you were noticeably absent when it came to the actual vote.
Well, what a surprise. The hippies didn't show up for the fight.
Actually, that's quite racist, because if you must know, we were going to go to the whole like vote thing, yeah. But it's actually the Festival of Feuerlands here at the moment, where we honor the old generations. So like we all had to work our grandparents' linear whilst the vote was happening, and that's like a really time-consuming process, actually.
You're like sissy man. You have this expression, sissy man, is like man with tiny penis who like to wash more than once a week.
Actually, that's quite homophobic, yeah.
Oh,
Because
stop winding him up, Ivan. We're not back at the Grange now. Sorry, Jeremy. Ivan and I used to play golf back in my media days.
He always wins.
Nothing gives him greater pleasure than grinding people's gears. The more publicly, the better.
Peter, you're like man with tiny penis who think he have tiny penis, but actually he discovered that. Oh, could it be? No, it's tiny penis.
Ivan's just worried that when the rest of the world sees how well we're doing, they'll notice all that dosh that he's got squirreled away. Because that's what these sanctions are, Megan. They're the last pathetic gasp of an establishment in collapse. Wolves at the gates, Ivan, old mate.
Good, he can join others on my wall.
actually, in Svenland, we have like serious animal welfare legislation. And like my friend Helga, she got arrested, yeah, for killing a butterfly that was hovering over her fuel tank. I mean, in English, Jam sandwich.
I used to know a girl called Jam Sandwich. She was a right cracker too. What became of her?
We seem to be wandering a little from the news here.
It's human interest, Jeremy. The real people behind the headlines and all that. So if you're watching, Jan, give us a call. Yeah. Let's see if we can't organise a reunion.
Christ, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to run it past Mrs. Clement first, eh?
Peter, you're like man trying to empty ashes of mistresses into oncoming vein. Soon you have tiny penis and beard full of secrets.
In Finland, we don't really go into all that restricted monogamy stuff here. We're kind of fluid, actually.
Okay, well, it seems that we are running out of time.
Yes, so before we go to the break, briefly, if you would, gentlemen, with the people of this country facing shortages and
Possible shortages and power outages.
Yes, of course.
Oh.
Possible shortages and power outages. Can you summarise your thoughts for us, Minister Beard?
Well, from here, yeah, you all look a bit stupid really arguing about outdated devices, concepts like money. In Finland, we replaced currency with a system of bodily fluids back in the 1970s, and that's like really hard to sanction, actually.
Thank you, Minister Vucevic.
You're drinking your own
He's like man who thinks
pee?
he invented perfect trap for giant Newton-haired bear. But really, he just standing in the field
Holding his tiny penis, yes. Thank you, Minister. And finally, Prime Minister Clement.
Let me talk to your viewers here, Jeremy. Don't worry, everybody. Don't be afraid. Don't even lose a wink of sleep. We knew the rest of the world would react this way, and we're ready. As my old man used to say, you can't make a shite pie without blocking a few toilets.
Thank you, Prime Minister.
Reassuring words there.
We'll be back.
After these messages.
1 minute back.
Hey, Peter, I over your way this weekend. You fancy a quick 9?
Yeah, sure, front or back.
That's what I hope you're asking Megan Wolf for me.
She's out of your league, mate.
Thank you for the correction.
Well, you have to be more careful.
It's all part of his long-term plan to get fired live on the news at 6 in front of the nation.
Can someone warn him it's going a little too well?
This is important. New government censorship should show up in blue. Same as regular censoring. Keep an eye out for the advanced blue waveform.
Oh, so we got blue wave. What does that mean?
Are you still meant to bow to foreign royalty?
What?
Should I just like curtsy?
Hang on. Have they given you the Crown Prince report?
Well,
Meghan?
This is Jeremy, and he'll be interviewing you.
Oh,
Yo, thanks for having me on your show, man.
it's quite alright.
Yo, just a quick one. You're not going to ask me about the chimp, are you?
Live in 10 seconds.
He put that get up on himself. I'm just saying.
Going in 5, 4, 3.
welcome back. I'm Megan Wolf. Later, we have an exclusive first look at a theatrical sensation everyone's going to be talking about. But first, it's time to go over to the culture spot with lovely old Jeremy Donaldson, who's joined by a very special guest. Jeremy.
Thanks, Megan. I have the honour and privilege of being joined by hip-hop royalty. He's been called the son of the streets and the father of truth. I'm not sure how that works, but whatever. Let's welcome Jesus!
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, it's a real honour to be here on this show, the news. You know, as a kid on the streets, I used to watch you through a window of the shop, so to be here right now is crazy.
You've had quite the journey to be here today. Can you tell us about it?
Well, you know, I try not to, well, you know, the past is the past and I don't like to dwell on it.
I understand.
But yeah, man, the streets is all I remember. Like, my mother donated me to a charity shop soon after I was born. Elderly lady took pity on me. You know, she let me sleep on a pile of crime fiction until I taught myself how to walk.
Wow, that's quite the childhood.
And she died tragically. Right there in my arms, man. You know, I remember a tear falling as she lay there next to the used homeware. And in that moment, I became a child of the streets. I was just 18 months old.
What a tale. What a tale. You're known for your direct and honest lyrics. Was your style informed by your troubled past?
Oh, like I said, I try not to talk about it. It's just it's just too hard.
Of course.
But my first album is about the story of the first 4 times I stole, so I wouldn't starve. A small group of infants came to see me as their de facto leader. They call me Mr. Cheese Slice. Anyway, we were like a family.
So it would seem. Recently, you've been quite outspoken about the government.
Yeah, fuck the government. Fuck Advance. Fuck Peter Clement.
What is it that you object to so vehemently?
Well, you know, they stole from us. They're taking our money and spending it, man.
Redistributing it. Actually, homelessness has been all but eliminated in the last couple of months.
So?
Surely that's a cause close to your heart?
Yeah, nah, of course, man. Very much so. I just mean, like, why do I have to pay for it, you know?
You don't. People have been rehoused on property seized from the historically wealthy. And that couldn't have been you, could it?
Look, yeah, I worked hard to be here. I built this from nothing, and I deserve to be rewarded for that.
Would you say you worked harder than, say, a farmer or a care worker?
I don't know. But if people are taking something from my music, choose to value it, buy it, who's to say I don't? And no one can take that away from me.
Not even to help, say, vulnerable children? Mr. Cheese.
What is it you're trying to say?
I just don't understand where you've placed yourself politically. I mean, is it ideological or is it tactical?
Well, it's more of
Or
like...
maybe it's hereditary.
Stop trying to tie me in knots with your words, Jeremy. I let the music speak for itself. And the people agree with me.
Well, that remains to be seen. But you have given me a very easy segue out of a conversation that I promise you was much more painful for me than it was for you. So here he is with his hit song, Mrs. Ludlow's Tears.
Oh no, I'm going to do something a little different. It's a new single I've been working on.
Oh, so this is unapproved, is it?
Yeah, you love it.
Excellent. Don't worry, we've got a state-of-the-art censorship system. What's the worst that could happen? So here he is with a new song. Aren't we lucky? It's Jesus!
First, you're gonna pay up. You're gonna pay back.
Well, we're all different races from many different places. At any given moment, only one could be the greatest. So you can feel the nation for your participation. Still 2 leaders in this motherfucking nation. Now we're getting sanctioned, talking about expansion. Why does Julie empire a massive fucking mansion? So fuck all your schemes. I don't need your freaky team, and I don't need your help to achieve my fucking dreams. So don't make a fuss when you find you're one of us. Yeah, every single one of you's a big Jesus. And you can call me crazy, cause no one ever pays me. But I won't waste a lifetime being motherfucking lazy. I may be inventive, my taste may be expensive. But why would I get out of bed with no fucking incentive? Although it's contravention of your obvious intention. I like to eat a little of the fruits in my invention. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our means are not the same. The best of the praise, of the press, of the wave. Cause we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Take this cup, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clement's motherfucking head. Cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job, he's unfit for. It's time to stone a couple with a motherfucking pitchfork. So this is for the snubs, ones the push and the shove, ones the folks to feel the burden of their motherfucking loved ones, ones who had plenty like a motherfucking Bentley, the ones who now finding that their bank accounts are empty, the ones of aspiration who had to flee a nation, the ones who built a business that had dreams of perspiration. There's all sorts of people, the good and the evil. It only takes a glance to see we're not all equal. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our means are not the same. And the best of the brave serve the press of the waves. Cause we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Gonna take this fact, gonna stay here red. Gonna slam it into Peter Clement's motherfucking head. Cause he's thick you hate to go getters. You're squilling bet getters and burn them on the paras of advanced fucking letters. Gonna take this fact, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clemens' motherfucking head. Cause he's fit as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. Time to storm the castle with a motherfucking pitchfork. Chase that clean, you don't need a fucking team. And advances, little dances aren't as harmless as it seems. Cause they're stale and corrupt, then your anger erupt. Then your hearts and your minds and your fists to destruct.
That was terrible.
Jesus there with his new song. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio. I'm sorry. I might not agree with you, but I'd just like to offer you an apology. I've just been told that there was some kind of issue upstairs, and an attempt was made to censor some of your notes.
What? Are you joking?
I'd just like to say to you and everyone at home that this was a mistake.
This is absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe this.
Here at the National Nightly News, we pride ourselves on remaining neutral, unbiased, and independent of any outside interference. You have my word. We will never censor ideas. Back to you, Megan.
Well, a bit of dangerous language there, sorry about that. Well, thank you to little Jeremy Donaldson for providing our culture spot. Coming up, we'll be speaking to a couple of familiar faces about their upcoming dramatic outing. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
That's the ad.
Jenny, this is fucking outrageous!
Thank you so much. If you could just come with me.
No, this is ridiculous. Who do I complain to?
This is just a mix-up, I'm sure. Now, if you come with me, I really do have to ask
Oh,
you to
trust
leave.
me. My father's going to hear about this.
I understand. This is unbelievable, Megan.
I don't know what you're talking about, Jeremy.
Just a reminder, fixing that old VCR. Dropping a new tape. Last ad break.
And let's go responsibility.
Oh, here we go. Look at
Responsibility.
If we could just get you in position.
Oh, say no more. Say no more.
Jeremy, you remember Mr. Algebra?
Vividly.
And Mr. Harris, and this is Ms. Radin.
What?
Philippa, please.
You're back together again, eh? Who'd have thought it?
Perhaps a lower-order demon.
Yes, it is awfully exciting, isn't it?
Right, okay then. We're going live in 10 seconds, opening on camera 1.
What?
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back, and no, you're not mistaken. Sitting across from us are some very familiar faces.
You really are too kind, Megan. It was only a yogurt commercial, but I'm still proud of it.
Here to talk about his new show, we're joined by National Treasure Tommy Harris, the National Theatre's Philippa Radin, and National Deficit Jeff Algebra.
It's so lovely to have you all. Tommy, would you like to tell us about the show?
You know what? I'd bloody love to. It's about me. It's about my life.
And where did the idea come from?
So, right, picture this. Their legs akimbo, mid-session, sweat is pouring out of me like an immense hog. And then Cindy comes in, she says, Pete's on the phone.
That's Peter Clement, the Prime Minister.
Yeah, Pete's actually a really good mate of mine.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, no, he comes to training sometimes. He's a very good goal.
Peter Clement.
Anyway, so, Pete, he says, Toby, he thinks my name's Toby, see? He says, how would you like to spread your message of team spirit and cooperation across this fractured nation? How would you like to really make a difference in these desperate times?
What did he say?
Yeah, right, yeah.
So, Jeff, the question on everyone's lips is, what in God's name are you doing here?
Well, after the success of my debut work and all the people that I've touched, I knew that I had a career in theatre. Yeah? I've always been an admirer of Tommy from afar. So when my manager phoned and said that I'd been offered the gig as director, I was ecstatic. I whipped my trousers off and got straight to work.
Why did you do that?
I do all my best work with my trousers off.
Yeah, I've been told that too.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Right, Tommy, sorry, would you just give us a sense of what the show is actually about?
It's about how hard it's been for me and some of the struggles that I've faced. It like really getting to the heart of how tough it is to be me. I call it Tommy Harris. Jesus, that was hard.
Catchy. We actually have some clips of the process of the show. Would you mind telling us what's going on here?
Yeah, so the show is built around two things that are very important to me. It mixes scenes from my life as well as epic fantasy retellings of scenes from my life.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation. I'm sorry, son. You're an embarrassment.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation.
Back, demon! Back to the hells!
Philippa, what's it been like co-starring with Tommy Harris?
I've always dreamed of treading the boards at medium-scale regional theatres, Megan. And for once, this show really gives me something to sink my teeth into.
What's different about this show then?
Tommy, Mr. Harris's show really lets me show my tremendous range as an actor. I've always suffered from typecasting, forced to play the same tired characters in every god-awful yogurt advert or godforsaken soap opera or, God forbid...
Yogurt? We have a yogurt advert?
But, you know, this show
No, we have a
really
sports
let
board.
me just go there.
Jeff, the viewers at home will be dying to know exactly what is it that you bring to the show.
Good question. I think these guys would agree with me when I say that it's my my steady hand on the tiller, my arm round the shoulder approach that's really brought the production from strength to strength.
Absolutely right. Jeff's contributions are immeasurable. He was our rock.
Can you give us a sneak peek of anything else that might be in the show?
Yeah, all sorts, yeah.
Yeah. We've got lots of exclusive first-hand experiences of Tommy's time in the underground sports board scene.
And some epic fantasy retellings of Tommy's time in the underground sports board scene.
You'll never take the sacred path! And am I right in saying this was officially commissioned by the government?
Yeah, all paid for by the taxpayer, which, you know, to be honest, is actually a lifesaver, really.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that without Advance's support, we'd have had to cut the finale.
Which frankly would have been a travesty.
Oh, God, Jesus Christ!
Goodness, and you do this every night?
Absolutely. It's a metaphor.
For what?
Yes?
And the public are footing the bill, are they?
Too bloody right they are. Between the cost of my tour bus and the dry cleaning of my ties, I'm barely scraping a profit here.
Amazing. And where can the folks at home come and see this for themselves?
We're performing all over the nation.
And people can see it for absolutely free, all courtesy of Advance. Isn't that incredible, Jeremy?
Yes, it's unbelievable.
Well, thank you all so much for coming. Next time we see you, no doubt, you'll have taken our jobs.
That's all we have time for tonight. Join us tomorrow when I'll be interviewing the world's most attractive horse. I'm Jeremy Donaldson.
And I'm Megan Wolfe. And from all of us here, have a peaceful night.
That's the ads. Let's get reset for tomorrow, please.
Hey, we must stop bumping into each other like this, eh?
Tired of dull and lifeless
Oh.
Dry and brittle split ends. Say hello to our seed
BEC.
gastry.
Now we need a U. Alright. I've received my full wage. Alright, let's go. A ladder worth climbing. Oh. It's a lazy Sunday afternoon in summer with you and Sam making the most of both kids being out of the house. You head to the pantry, take a moment to remember when it used to be your mother's room, before coming out with the last few slices of homemade cake. It's rare for you and Sam to actually get to finish sweet things in the house, and you savor every mouthful. Just as you take your last bite, you hear the sound of the front door slamming. That'll be Charlie back from the Go-Getters. You can hear him practically running to find you, and he grins ear to ear when he finally does. I have some really big news. You and Sam play along, sitting attentively with bated breath. At least Charlie asks, as you both nod enthusiastically. Of course, he reveals a new badge from his pocket, and Charlie presents it to you both to examine. He nods. As of today, I'm a member of the first tier of Cohesion Cadets. There's way more stuff I'm going to be doing. I'll be working on some weekends, but it was really cool. Sam congratulates. Because you can't help but frown. A grown-up child. You've always had dinner as a family for the important events, and tonight is no exception. Charlie ostensibly resents not being able to go to his friend's house this evening, but you can tell he's happy to be with you, really. It's the last time you'll all be going together for a while, so far you've even managed to avoid fighting with Susie over politics, something Sam is no doubt grateful for. With your exams and your work, you've not seen much of Susie lately. Of course, it's not the same without your mom here, but it's nice having everyone together nonetheless. So Alex, I believe you had a few words? Sam pointedly asked, nodding towards Susie. Your daughter cocks an eyebrow with a quizzical expression, and you can't help but see a little of yourself in it. Ah, yes, of course. What's this about? Susie asks, laughing as she takes a drink of her champagne-adjacent sparkling wine. Sam made a point this afternoon that it was a big day, and you should all be celebrating her achievements. So, our little Susie. Come on, honey, we're waiting, Sam says softly. You're not going to go off about the government again, are you? You're like a broken record. Susie smiles at you, a twinkle in her eye. I just wanted to say we're proud of you, Susie. Well done getting into med school. The thing about the government that you whippersnappers don't understand. You winked as everyone starts to laugh. Oh, Susie mischievous smile becomes a grin as she gets up, comes around the table, and gives you a big hug. I'm gonna miss you. You can see Sam start to tear up as they stand to join the embrace. Miss us? Are you going somewhere? A good question. Susie laughed, breaking the hug. No, you're not getting rid of me yet, but I'll have to leave when I get my first posting. Oh, hush now, let's not talk about that. Sam cuts her off, smiling. The rest of the evening passes as a happy blur. Couldn't be prouder. A sign of things to come. Oh, that's a nice car. Shopping. Something comes that always seems too insidious before the sanctions has now become even more of a chore now. You managed to get almost everything needed for the family this evening, but you have to come back tomorrow to get through the week. There's a queue to leave the car park, though it's hard to make out why in the dark. Hopefully whatever's causing it won't be so long. As the final car in front of you drives off, you realize that the queue is actually due to a checkpoint set up at the exit. A friendly-looking man in the advanced uniform, CCO, emblazoned in a number of places on it, approaches your car and knocks the driver's side window. You look down. Good evening, nothing to worry about. I was just wondering if I could see your team membership card, please. Weren't these cards supposed to be voluntary? I'm sorry, I don't have one. That's not a problem. We got forms with us right here, and we're more than happy to sign you up. The man gestures to his colleague behind him, a young woman in a similar uniform. She clearly received the short end of the stick and is stuck with the paperwork. Well, strictly speaking, they're not, but there's also loads of benefits to having one, and no reason not to get one. His smile fades a bit, and when he puts a hand to scratch the back of his neck for a moment, he leans over you, his presence now seeming a little intimidating. He gestures for his colleague to come over, and she quickly takes down your personal information, employment history, and also that of your family. There's quite a bit more than you were expecting, and the level of detail required is a little surprising too. Still, a few minutes later, you're done. With the promise of your very own team membership card winging its way to your suit. Saves you having to stop in the queue next time. Yep, that's great. That's all great. Thanks. Don't forget to keep an eye out for the new team lottery starting up soon. Loads of great benefits to be won. You have a nice day. The man is all smiles as he pats the bonnet of your car and waves you off. 3 prizes for just having the car? Fantastic. What do I get? A free Lamborghini? Invitation worth ignoring. It's a Saturday. One of your few days off. You've made the most of it, but as late afternoon draws on, the invitation sits pinned to the fridge, staring accusingly at you. The Channel 1 Gala is a mandatory work event, Bozeman was very quick to tell you. Also, don't you dare be late. It's probably not worth to risk Bozeman's wrath. Better go. Yeah. Best start getting ready. You wonder if Sam will give you a lift. A drink or two might help with the enforced office socializing. Hopefully it won't be too bad. After all, you've been pretty good at your job. Yeah. I totally haven't let Snugglehuds in my house. In my news... Oh. You arrive on time, barely as a yada yada, one of the oldest and grandest hotels in the capital. You're surprised to see a queue to get in. You quickly realize it's because people are being searched at the door by some very military-looking personnel in smart attire. While you're waiting, you can't help but notice just how very opulent the building is, potentially the fanciest place you have been to in your life. You submit to being patted down with a sigh of relief and relay into the hotel. Once inside, you're directed to the grand ballroom, and following the signs, you marvel at the sheer scale of the place and the amount of armed security guards. When you finally arrive, a very severe-looking woman at the door asks for your name. And Alex Winston. She currently checks her list before whispering something to the waiter before her. You made it just in time to be seated before the Please follow Emmanuel here to your table. The waiter smiles at you and opens one of the great double doors, gesturing for you to enter. Immediately, you can see why it's called the Great Ballroom. You pause for a second to take your dollar. You feel a slight tap on your arm, and Emmanuel gestures for you to follow him. He seats you at a table in the center floor with a decent view of the stage. Clearly, you're in Bozeman's good books at the moment. You're set with some colleagues you've seen around the Channel 1 offices before don't know that well. One of them informs you, far too excited. It's a very corporate evening of awards and speeches. At least the food should be good. Dinner is indeed lovely, with the help of the no doubt very expensive wine. How much are we talking? $50 for a wine? How much is wine these days? conversation flows easily enough. In fact, much to your surprise, you're actually presented with an award for Best Newcomer to the Channel 1 family. Well, this is unexpected. As you walk up to collect it, you recognize the presenter as Dr. Adrian Atkinson Blimmy of Incisors fame. He thanked Advance for sponsoring this year's gala before specifically thanking Prime Ministers Julia Alistair and Peter Clement for being in attendance tonight. That was the guy who was in the blue and yellow jacket, the first ones we interviewed in the newsroom, right? As he takes to the stage, you see the frontmost central table does indeed seat the Prime Ministers, as well as Bozeman, Meghan, and some other very well-to-do types that you don't recognize. That explains all the security. As you're handed the award, Dr. Atkinson Blismy asks if you'd like to say a few words. You're a little nervous. There you go. As you think Advanced Applause breaks out of the room, both Peter and Julia stand up to magnanimously accept it before saying the nights not about them. But thanks to all the same, as you head back to your seat, you see Bozeman nodding at you with a satisfied smile on his flushed face. Clearly, that was the right speech. Just as you're finishing up dinner, one of the other people at your table points behind you. As you turn, you see Bozeman walking briskly past with Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement in tow. You're pretty sure he was pointedly ignoring you. He seems to be introducing the Prime Ministers to a selection of people at different tables. You finish off the rest of the meal, listening to the last few words, speeches, and then head home. All in all, it was a surprisingly nice evening. You might actually look forward to the next one. So we were invited to like a dinner. That's nice. And like some of your co-workers were there. Alright, what are we dealing with now? We didn't really deal much in the last one. All we had was like a bit of music. We had to swap out a couple of adverts. We had an extra vision screen. The interference thing is getting harder and harder with each day. Yeah, like one of the adverts was busted, or at least one of the VCR players was busted. Alright, the heat wave. Oh god. Oh, I think I might need to deal with... Oh, we don't have a phone. Oh, so something turns off? Oh, so that must be my temperature. Oh, that is a heat wave. Let's turn on everything.
Some people like disrupt. Mike, keep us in line. Hate guns. Give me the willies.
10 seconds, everybody.
So we've got any actual real news tonight?
Well, the world's on fire. That good enough for you? Going in 5, 4, 3.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main headlines tonight. Siege mentality. The World Council today established a military blockade to enforce the unjust and punitive sanctions now entering their 10th week. In a statement from team headquarters a short time ago, Prime Minister Julia Salisbury issued a commanding response to this unprovoked escalation.
That's when we need the fan.
The regrettable decision taken by the World Council this morning have left the citizens of this country isolated and fearful.
Oh, that's our new
But
phone.
Advance have prepared for this day. Our stockpiles are large, our wealth is unfathomable, and we will defend our citizens with every last breath from this latest brutal and calculated act of war. We are with you. One team. Indivisible.
Don't forget about that pesky power button on the fan.
Thank you.
Three's a crowd. It seems the celebrity wedding of the decade might have been a touch busier than expected.
Oh, so it's the
In a
middle
photo
button.
leaked today, it appears the union of football star Johnny Hamsleeves and his bride Tiffany Lamore may have had a few uninvited guests. Hundreds lined the street to celebrate with the happy couple. Eyewitnesses say a cheer went up as the blushing bride passed by in her carriage, shaped like a bacon sandwich, which is said to be either a protest against the meat industry or a mix-up at the carriage factory. In it to win it, exciting news from Advance today with the announcement of a new monthly prize draw for all team membership card holders. Every month, lucky winners from across the country will be picked at random to receive what Team HQ are describing as unique prizes worth more than money used to be. Take-up on the scheme has been much higher than expected, and if this lucky winner's delighted face is anything to go by, it looks like pretty soon everyone's going to have one.
Oh, so that tells me.
Bitter pill. Is this the beginning of the end for responsibility? The male contraceptive pill, lauded by scientists as a remarkable achievement, has been widely rejected by the public. Sales of the revolutionary drug have been non-existent, with many claiming the world simply wasn't ready for such a shift in radical reproductive politics. Relentless CEO Sophia Remington has refused to bow to public pressure and give up on the treatment. Seen here outside Remington Cysts HQ, the dogged businesswoman called the failure a minor hiccup before reducing 2 reporters to tears. The cost of a captain. The trapped scientists awaiting rescue in Dante's taint have today been told who will be leading the expedition to bring them home. The announcement of the newly appointed captain comes amid reports that a lack of public interest has hindered fundraising efforts. However, Doctors Wong and Sforsborg and Horgensford are said to be remaining hopeful despite financial concerns. The decision to hire infamously cheap but notoriously unreliable Captain Archibald Viator III was widely criticised this morning after he immediately spent 50% of the already tight budget on tequila, recording it on the equipment list as nature's seatbelt. Burning down the house? The Capitol was put on high alert last night after disrupt terrorists set an emblematic fire in the heart of Parliament Park. Violent conflict broke out at the demonstration after a mob of so-called protesters from the radical group launched an unprovoked attack on community cohesion officers in attendance. With the methods of this increasingly violent rabble becoming ever more extreme, many are asking if the military should intervene. Colonel Phineas Mad Badger Fortingley Davis of the 1st Mounted Bastards Brigade said his men were, and I quote, oiled up and ready for action. All this, and I'll be talking to some people with fascinating medical conditions, as well as one of the contenders in this year's Feline Football Championship, and her proud owner. That's all up on tonight's National Nightly News. Of ours are coping with this unprecedented hot weather. First, let's go to Megan Wolf in Shining-on-Sea to see what the scientific community has to say. Megan, how's the weather there?
It's absolutely glorious, Jeremy. Thank you for asking.
Are you fucking kidding me? She's on a beach with a fucking... Looks suspiciously like actual news.
Would you rather...
Oh. It's hard. Trying to deal with a fan.
Peter Clement and Horizons here.
Okay, we're working on it.
What, you've got someone to hose down the sun, have you?
Yes, they've just strapped on their wax wings.
Classical illusions are no substitute for air conditioning.
You know, I genuinely thought you'd be in a better mood today. She's not even here.
Yes, but he is. Our gun-toting handler.
Who, Andy?
I don't know what the fuck his name is, do I?
He's here to keep us safe from people like Disrupt.
More like keep us in line. I hate guns. Give me the willies.
10 seconds, everybody.
So, we've got any actual real news tonight?
Oh, the world's on fire. That good enough for you? Going in 5, 4, 3.
Good evening. I'm Jeremy Lawson. Good evening. Our main headlines tonight. Siege mentality. The World Council today established a military blockade to enforce the unjust and punitive sanctions now entering their 10th week. In a statement from team headquarters a short time ago, Prime Minister Julia Salisbury issued a commanding response to this unprovoked escalation.
The regrettable decision taken by the World Council this morning have left the citizens of this country isolated and fearful. But Advance have prepared for this day. Our stockpiles are large, our wealth is unfathomable, and we will defend our citizens with every last breath from this latest brutal and calculated act of war. We are with you, one team, indivisible and strong.
Thank you.
Three's a crowd. It seems the celebrity wedding of the decade might have been a touch busier than expected. In a photo leaked today, it appears the union of football star Johnny Hamsleeves and his bride, Tiffany Lamour, may have had a few uninvited guests. Scores of drunken revelers gatecrashed the star-studded celebrations and seemingly caused something of a stir. The group swarmed the dance floor in what one onlooker called a Congo of shame. At least 3 people were taken to hospital with injuries described as bouquet-related. In it to win it, exciting news from Advance today with the announcement of a new monthly prize draw for all team membership card holders. Every month, lucky winners from across the country will be picked at random to receive what Team HQ are describing as unique prizes worth more than money used to be. Take-up on the scheme has been much higher than expected, and if its lucky winners' delighted face is anything to go by, it looks like pretty soon everyone's going to have one. Bitter pill. Is this the beginning of the end for responsibility? The male contraceptive pill, lauded by scientists as a remarkable achievement, has been widely rejected by the public. Sales of the revolutionary drug have been non-existent, with many claiming the world simply wasn't ready for such a shift in radical reproductive politics. Sophia Remington, the hapless CEO who called the treatment a new era for sexual health, has removed the product from sale. Pictured here arriving at a board meeting this morning, she is said to have utterly lost hope in humanity, remarking, "What's the point when you're all so damn stupid?" before bursting into tears. The cost of a captain. The trapped scientists awaiting rescue in Dante's taint have today been told who will be leading the expedition to bring them home. The announcement of the newly appointed captain comes amid reports that a lack of public interest has hindered fundraising efforts. However, Doctors Wong and Sforsborg and Horgensford are said to be remaining hopeful despite financial concerns. Waiving her normal fee, the team are calling the appointment of Captain Audrey Aerospace a real boon. But how will one of the most experienced and well-respected leaders in her field handle a journey with a budget lower than an accountant's honeymoon? Burning down the house? The capital was put on high alert last night after disrupt terrorists set an emblematic fire in the heart of Parliament Park. Violent conflict broke out at the demonstration after a mob of so-called protesters from the radical group launched an unprovoked attack on community cohesion officers in attendance. While the burning fist of resistance certainly seems a powerful image in these difficult times, fire officials were quick to point out that had they not arrived in time, and I quote, the whole bloody city might be yesterday's burnt crumpets. All this, and I'll be talking to some people with fascinating medical conditions, as well as one of the contenders in this year's Feline Football Championship, and her proud owner. That's all up on tonight, National Nightly News. But first tonight, our team of correspondents has been dispatched to every corner of the country to see how the people of this great nation of ours are coping with this unprecedented hot weather. First, let's go to Megan Wolf in Shining-on-Sea to see what the scientific community has to say. Megan, how's the weather there?
It's absolutely glorious, Jeremy. Thank you for asking. I'm here with Dr. Anna Burns at the University of Princeton. Are you enjoying the weather as much as I am?
Oh, yes, it's wonderful, isn't it? My eyelids are sweating.
And you're part of the
If
team
it's
carrying
sweating,
out a
that doesn't
study
mean
into
it's
just what's
wonderful.
causing this unbelievable heat. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, we want to be able to reassure the public once and for all that there's absolutely nothing to worry about and that they can enjoy their sunstroke and fossil fuels in peace.
You sound very confident about that.
Oh, very much so. I can say without any hesitation, there's really no cause for any concern here. I've actually left my car running.
So tell us about this experiment.
Well, we take data from weather stations from all over the world, along with atmospheric samples, and we take all that and we feed it into this state-of-the-art computer, and very soon we'll be getting a high-tech readout of the results.
Blimey, that sounds very fancy.
I should just say, none of this would be possible. This is all thanks to their unrivaled investment in our future, and may I just say, complimentary personal anecdote. Oh, here we go. And, as expected, everything is absolutely fucked. Hang on. This can't be right.
Right, but obviously you said a second ago that everything is fine.
Well, actually, under concern
This
level,
is
it
short
just
for the
says,
interception.
why, God, why?
We should be celebrating these wonderful results, I think. Celebrating these wonderful results, I think.
We need to evolve gills within 40 years. Here it just says, shit.
Look at you. This is meant to be a celebration. You can't go around looking like that. There you go. Much better. Can I just say thank you again to Sophia Remington for providing all of this.
Everyone, we don't have long. Time is running out.
Absolutely right. That's all we have time for.
Abandon hope and return to the forest. Abandon hope and return to the forest.
Enjoy. One opinion. Could you just proof being beat that everything is just fine? I'm Megan Wolf. Here with science. I'm Megan Wolf. Back to you. Here with science.
Megan Wolf there, attempting to do some actual news. Next, let's over to Robin Short, who's in Scritchford with some of the winners of this week's Team Membership Lottery. Robin? Team Membership Lottery.
Thanks, Jeremy. I'm here in Scritchford with Gary Failsafe, a janitor at the local school,
and Amelia Jackhammer, an aspiring poet. Both of you were drawn at random from those who hold team membership cards to receive this week's amazing prize. How do you feel?
Filled with fervent euphoria.
Yeah, good, yeah.
And all that we had to do was fill in a quick form or two.
Wow, that sounds so convenient. But we're all dying to know. What have you won?
I've won dinner with Julius Salisbury at one of the capital's top restaurants.
Ooh, swanky.
And I've been invited to Peter Clement's house to help him dredge the guttering.
That's absolutely terrific. You must both be over the moon.
I've written a poem about it.
So, can you tell me about the moment when you first heard the news?
Well, I was battling against a particularly difficult float one of the sixth floors when the headmaster came and found me.
I was involved in a similarly brutal conflict with a particularly arduous stanza.
So you were both polishing turds.
No, I don't like to polish them. I like to keep them intact for my collection.
How unexpected.
I don't polish turds. I write
Nothing's gonna go on any second.
Potato. So Gary,
Do you think Peter Clement's going to let me keep the contents of his down?
there's no harm in asking, I suppose.
Would you like to hear one?
No, thank you. Gary, when you signed up for team membership, was it in hopes of winning the lottery, or were there other reasons?
I like a flutter, of course, but no. The boss said I had to sign up to keep coming into school.
Very sensible. It's important to know who we're trusting around our children.
I have an unpublished book of sonnets about children. Perhaps you'd like to hear one.
No.
Or an anthology.
No.
On the death of innocence.
I'd rather hear about Gary's turd collection.
Really? I thought you might say that. I thought you might say that.
Are you all right? Are you all right?
It's coming. It's inspiration, and it's delicious.
Right,
and
you are.
Right you are. Today on the show there's no news. Just a man who keeps multiple clues.
This Biggin's my favourite. See how it's fibrous. Biggin's my favourite.
Would you encourage other people to enter for their chance to win?
Turn that off, and then once we get something, I'll turn it back
The
on.
national news lost its way when it covered some crap
I'll turn it back on now. Changing this thing turns off.
And that's all we have time for today. Back to you, Jeremy.
Thanks, Robin. What a lucky pair. Thanks, Robin. And finally in this segment, it's over to Patrick Bannon, who's gone to the smelliest town in the country to see how the unprecedented weather is affecting the locals. Patrick?
Hello there, Jeremy. Hello, yes. I'm here live in Grizzleford, which has recently voted the smelliest town in the country. And I have to say that, in this heat, the smell really is. I mean, it smells, it's something. Barry Lardons, mate, you've lived here your whole life. How'd you put up with the stink?
Well, we're just all very proud of our achievement, to be honest with you.
Tell that look at him, honest with you.
Do you know what it's like, son? Being in the second smelliest town, living in the shadow of Arseminster, and who's laughing now, eh? Who's laughing now?
So what happened, mate?
The good people from Willington's Fist came in and saved the day with their factory.
You're talking, of course, about the newly built flour factory.
Yeah, they gave us this big presentation on jobs and growth. But as soon as we heard about the stench, we paid them whatever they wanted. Put it here.
Stink not affect your life in every way, Barry. I mean, perhaps if you're filling in a tax return or completing the physical act of love.
It's strong at first, but you get used to it after several weeks of your first bout of sickness. The judges were very impressed. Oh, that's nothing to worry about. It takes a few minutes before you develop any symptoms. Now, folk are saying something about the production line and how they dump carcasses directly into the waterway. But I think it's probably a few valves on the high street.
On the high street? Should I see a doctor? What are the symptoms?
Well, the first one is asking stupid questions. Then folk experience a lot of inhibition.
Girls, do they? When was the last time you brushed your teeth, this stinking old tramp?
Next according is random reversing is a strong
followed immediately by delusions of grandeur.
Hello, it's sexy Patrick Bannon. He's wearing sexy shorts now. Oh my God, look at me. I'm like a stallion. I'm gorgeous. Why didn't you tell me? I should take my shirt off. You know what? I'll even let you touch me if you want.
That will be the bout of undeserved self-confidence.
Love the Bannon. Feel the Bannon. Love the Bannon. Feel the Bannon.
And the on we. All that's left now are hallucinations and unconsciousness.
Marodotti? Was that you, Marodotti? Why are you made out of elbows? Why are you know I don't eat opinions. You know I don't eat opinions.
Oh, don't worry, folks. Once he wakes up, he'll be just fine. We'll just find a place to stick him. Won't matter how many times he evacuates his bowels. Right, that's all here from Grizzleford, a town that's really making a stink. I'm Barry Lardens. I'm Barry Jeremy. Back to you. Right,
Thanks, Baron.
You need to
Thanks, Baron.
stand back.
Close line as we speak.
Back.
When we come back, I'll be talking to three members of the general public who appear to be here purely for medical reasons. Don't go away. Unless, of course, you've got something better to do. We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back.
Tired of dull
that
and
was
lifeless
stupid,
hair.
even for you.
I don't
Dry
care.
and brittle split ends.
I am done. It's 200 fucking degrees in here, and I can't do this anymore.
It's every Friday.
Deep filter intensive treatment repairs.
What do you mean?
Textile irresistible
Jeremy?
Only our seed gastrin contains an organic blending ingredient to penetrate deep.
This next section features a potentially controversial guest, and Martz may request some censorship if he goes too off topic. You've done a great job so far keeping everyone happy, so let's keep up the good work.
Other brands.
That's what I'm talking about.
6 out of 10
That's
shampoo
what
is recommended.
we should be doing an interview with the War Minister, or a report from Grenfell Downs. Even the weather be more fucking relevant
Intensive
than this.
formula acts fast, repairing damage and strengthening strands for hair that's truly unbreakable.
Exactly, which is wrong. People's minds should be very much on things. Christ, it's so fucking hot.
Please take your seats as quickly as you can. The irresistible
I can't do this anymore. I've had enough. That's it. This is
10
seconds.
Over yourself, Jeremy. Why don't you stop feeling sorry for yourself for 5? Because you have 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Welcome back to your host, Jeremy Donaldson. Your host. Later, we'll be talking to the captain of the territory's first cat football team, Professor Pumpkin. But first, I'm joined by 3 guests with some balmy bodily behaviours. Joining me is a woman who's been hiccuping for over 9 months. Isn't that right, Miss Piercy?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
That's right. Tell us, what brought all this on? Tell us,
It's all a bit of a blur, Jeremy, to be totally frank with you. So I was watching your show and I remember seeing the news about the election and it hasn't stopped since.
Fascinating stuff. Also here is Frankie Steampipe. Perhaps you could explain to us exactly what your physiological fourboil is.
I'm here to say it's high time people like me were respected. We're constantly overlooked in the workplace, we're whispered about on buses, and we're asked politely to leave children's birthday parties. And it's disgusting. I'm sorry, my bowels have comic timing.
And finally, I'm joined by a man who answers every question
Just
honestly,
rip.
even when it isn't aimed at him. How do you cope with that, Mr. Truman?
With a combination of booze, self-hatred, and hardcore pornography.
Is that
Not according to my therapist.
Well, in that case, let's speak to Rose. Tell me, how does the hiccuping impact you?
I get shushed a lot, which is hard.
Don't forget about that pesky power button on the fan.
It's really affected my confidence.
Well, I find it really fucking irritating.
Can you believe your story?
Fuck no.
Actually, I've been surprised at how much support I've received.
And Frankie, why have you come here today?
Because my wife left me and I was hoping that the fame would win her back.
We've started a group for people with ailments deemed broadly comical by society. It's called Take Us Seriously.
That's right. And we bloody well mean it.
And who's joined so far?
A bunch of fucking losers.
It's just us so far.
And how much success have you had?
Well, we've seen some real positive changes.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but it's been a runaway success.
Shit all. Not a single person come to our fun run, and all of our leaflets fell in the canal.
Huh. Well, Miss Piercy, some people are saying your condition was actually caused by the shocking events of that night. What do you think?
Come down, Mr. Donaldson, that's absolute rubbish.
What it'd be like to have a pair of tits.
Could you? I'm sorry, it's very hard. What was I thinking?
That you're a team fuck puppet?
No.
Or a sellout cunt?
Apologies. Just a reminder that he can't help it. And hey, if this isn't live television, then what is it?
Fuckfest of propaganda masquerading as journalism.
Right, Frankie, Rose, tell us, how can the viewers get involved with your cause?
Yes, we're holding a sponsored run in Capitol Park next weekend. It's called the No Smiles 13 Miles.
No, it's called the No Laugh Half. What did I say before the show?
That it was the team pulling Jeremy Donaldson's strings.
No, I didn't say.
Wow, we may have to end that there, unfortunately. What a harmless bit of fun.
Steady on!
This is exactly what I'm talking about. We demand respect.
Yes, well, later, I'll be talking to Professor Pumpkin, a ginger tabby with a world-class pair of penalty paws. Is that really necessary?
No, it isn't. Let go. Not you.
Unhand him at once.
Enough! That's enough! Enough!
What are you doing?
Trying not to piss myself.
Alex, cut.
Don't you dare! Don't you fucking dare cut to the ads before I tell you to. Now, you in the broadcast centre, Bozeman's little scapegoat, you listen to me. You cut to the ads before I tell you to, and I will kill every single person in this studio. I am thinking about what I'm doing. I've been thinking about it for a long time. We all should be. Christ, it's so fucking hot in here. Do you remember when we used to do the real news? Before it was all lottery winners and bloody cat football? We are on the brink of a siege, the likes of which the world hasn't seen in hundreds of years. The enemy is at the gates, and I'm stuck here talking to these three fucking idiots.
I think my hiccups have stopped.
You three, get the fuck out of my studio. Go on, now, go, before I change my mind. Jenny, lock the doors. Lock the doors.
Yes, Jeremy.
Now. Good. Yes. Now. Right. You in the broadcast centre. Alex, you listen to me. You pay attention. Now, I'm sure you've already loaded up exactly what you're going to play in the commercial, but today is going to be a little bit different. Look to your right. Yes, really. Look to your right. There is a VHS tape, and I want you to load it into one of your machines, and when I say so, and not before, you play it. You've got about 15 seconds, so I wouldn't waste any time. Now, all cameras.
I assume you won't be playing that tape. This station does not negotiate with terrorists. I hope I've made myself clear. You seem to know what to do.
Every single thing that comes out of this studio is either one-sided or banal. We're going to show the other side for a bit. For a bit of fucking balance. Like the good old days. Alex, play the fucking tape. Now, I don't want to hurt any of you. If I see anything I don't like, I will not hesitate to
You're going to get me in trouble with that. Let's hope you made the right call.
Reset the system for the third segment. I imagine the ratings are going to be through the roof.
Ooh.
You know the elderly are not a burden. You know the rich were not all evil. And you know the team membership card is an ID card, no matter what they try to tell you. But why should you trust us? Another faceless organisation. A shadowy figure with a distorted voice. You've seen it so many times in the movies. Well, this is not a movie.
My name is Alan James. I used to try and shock people for a living, for entertainment. But now we live in a time where perhaps you need to be shocked. Perhaps we need to wake up. Advance are coming for our freedoms. They're coming for the fruits of our labours. They will take our wealth. They will euthanize our parents and smiling throughout. They will turn our children us if we voice our concern.
How
You
long?
don't have to accept it.
Jeremy, please.
How
Many people already
long?
won't.
17
You can
seconds.
resist.
And the
You
studio
can
doors are all
disrupt.
still locked?
Find us.
Yes.
Talk with us. Join us.
So what now?
It isn't hard.
I don't know.
We're everywhere.
This wasn't what I planned. I mean, some of it was. I had a speech, look. But this was unexpected. This was unexpected.
So what now, Jeremy? So what now, Jeremy?
It was supposed to be your day off. It was supposed to be your day off.
Please, don't do any more stupid things today. Please, don't do any more stupid things today.
How long, Jenny? How
You're
long?
already live. You're already live.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Welcome back to the National Joining me unexpectedly. Joining me, I very much imagine, with my last broadcast. Our two new guests. Last broadcast. Jenny works here at the National Nightly News. Jenny and it's someone I consider Nightly News. And it's someone I consider a friend. Well, and next to her is. What's your name?
Andy.
What's your name? Andy's a policeman.
Andy.
Only Andy. We don't call him that anymore. He's a community cohesion official. He's a community
Officer.
cohesion official. Sorry.
It's community cohesion officer. It's CCO. Cohesion officer.
And how's that feel, Andy?
CCO.
Being rebranded, Andy? Being
It's,
rebranded?
It's good. It's not about confrontation anymore. It's not about confrontation. The force
anymore.
had its fair share of problems.
The force
had
had
its fair share of problems.
The team doesn't have as many.
But it still has some. But it still has some. Couldn't or wouldn't?
Say.
Couldn't or wouldn't?
I don't know what you want me to say.
Christ, you're fucking useless, aren't you? Christ, we'll come back to you later, aren't you? We'll come back to you later.
Don't
Jenny?
want to be on the news, Jeremy. Don't want to be on the news, Jeremy.
That's perfectly understandable. That's perfectly understandable. We'd want to do this. We'd want to do this. Jenny. Jenny, why did you join the National Nightly News? Why did you join the National Nightly News?
I always wanted to work in news. I always
Yes,
wanted
but
to
why
work in news.
specifically this program? Yes, but why specifically the National Nightly? The National Nightly.
It was the news everyone trusted.
Was.
It was the news everyone trusted.
Was.
Is. Do you really want to quibble semantics at gunpoint? Do you really want
Is
to
there
quibble
something else
semantics
you'd
at
rather
gunpoint?
discuss? Is there something else you'd rather
Big
discuss?
Alan James sized elephant in the room you seem to be ignoring. Elephant in the room you seem to be ignoring. I saw your face when that bit came down. I saw your face when you didn't know, did you?
It's about the message, not the messenger. It's about the message, not the messenger.
Like I said, you
No. I didn't know. No. The people I met, I didn't know. He wasn't there. The people I met, I didn't know it was Alan James.
I'm sorry.
I didn't know it was Alan
Seriously,
James.
I'm sorry. Alan, seriously. Fucking James. You're flushing your life down the toilet. You're flushing your life down the toilet. I love you, Jeremy, but God, I love you, Jeremy, but
He's a good speaker. He's a good speaker. He's popular in the country. He's popular in the country.
Not right. Not right.
Look, forget Alan James. There is still something deeply wrong. There is still something and you know it, Jenny. Wrong. And you know it, Andy. And you know it, Jenny. And you know it, Andy. You know it too. And you know it too. I'm interviewing a guest who stinks of shit. I'm interviewing a guest who is paddling about in shit. And Robin is literally interviewing someone who collects the fucking stuff. I mean, it's not sophisticated, Paul. What a metaphor. It's not sophisticated, Paul. We are sleepwalking our way into oppression, and the news isn't saying anything. And the news isn't saying anything. We're not saying anything.
Says who?
What are all those scientists working on at Grentham Downs? What are they testing underground at Altergrave? What are they... Andy, your turn. Make yourself fucking useful. Your turn. How many people have you brought in for consultations just because they weren't carrying or didn't have team membership cards?
Oh, well, there's other forms of identification that we will accept.
For how long?
That we will just
For
here to
how
help.
long? Then why do you need these?
Just here to help.
Then why do you need these? Not really help when it's offered at gunpoint, is it, Andy? Help when it's offered at gunpoint, is it, Andy? Let me demonstrate it for you. Let me help you. Let me help you. You read these cards and my notes on it, and you'll probably digest the fact. That'd be helpful, wouldn't it, Andy? Knowing a fact, wouldn't it, Andy?
I don't
Do
understand.
you want my help,
Yes,
Andy?
yes, whatever
Do
you
you
say,
want my
yes.
help,
Security
Andy?
here,
Yes, whatever you
Eat
say,
it.
yes.
Security are here,
What?
Jeremy.
Eat it. Eat the fucking news, Andy. Force it down your fucking throat.
Jeremy,
Force
stop.
it down your fucking throat.
Jeremy,
Really?
stop.
Eat it. Go on. Eat it.
Really?
Eat it.
Jeremy, stop.
Eat it.
Jeremy,
Will
stop.
kill you. Pete will kill you. Don't make me watch that, please. Don't make me watch that.
Of course. You're right. Of course. Sorry. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, everyone. You can put the card down now, Andy. You can put the card down now, Andy. You can go now. You too, Jenny. Now. Fuck off over there. You too, Jenny. Off over there. And nearly done. And nearly done. All cameras on me. All cameras on me. This new regime of ours is so. This new regime of ours is so. I understand that. But before we all hand off our freedoms, should we ask the who might hand off our freedoms? Should we ask the who know what's being done in your name? Don't you want to know how many people were transitioned last month? A record high. Again. If you care. Again. Shouldn't someone ask Advance how they plan to deal with this blockade? How many years or months of supplies we have? Why aren't we asking these questions instead of asking these questions? Instead of there's a cat backstage dressed as a fucking dolly for Christ's sake. He's even got the little gloves. He's even got the little gloves.
Who let this man on TV?
That's why I arranged for you to see that broadcast. That's why I arranged for you to see
Have you
that
seen this man? He was last seen swearing on TV. Live
That just
TV.
about sums it up. But I guess we are all up Ship Creek with a paddle made of Alan fucking James. Christ is also fucking pointless. Christ is also pointless. I was gonna quit tonight. I was gonna quit. Take a holiday. Try something else. Take a holiday. Out of the limelight. Try something else. Out of the limelight. Having a relationship. I hear that nice. Having a relationship. Never tried that nice. I never tried. I loved the news. I loved the news. And now, well...
God, Jeremy, don't!
Now, well... I've tried my best to be honest with you. I've tried my best. This just isn't the news anymore. This just isn't the news anymore. I've lost the fight. I've let you down.
Please, we can't show this. Cut to the ads. Please, we can't show this.
Hi, it's Crazy Neil with our mega hot sunny summer deal. The prices are heating up, but the temperature's going down. Or it's the other.
We've seen that symbol. Let's go. Alright, so that's gonna do it for today's episode of Not for Broadcast. Wow, things got heated real quick. So, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.